Hello and welcome back to the Cars Ireland YouTube channel. Unfortunately, our press car for this week was cancelled, and as a treat we are going to show you around a 16-year-old Suzuki Grand Vitara. Now this is actually mine. I bought it as a stopgap after a couple of dodgy Saabs, a dodgy Alfa Romeo and a Clio 172. I was only going to keep it for a few months, you know, as a stopgap to keep me going, but in my 4 years of ownership, this thing has never put a foot wrong. It is absolutely bulletproof and basic. It was sitting up for 3 or 4 months, started it up yesterday, absolutely no problem. Never caused me a day's hassle. It's just a great little stupid car. Why did I call it stupid? It's not stupid. Plus, it has a cool sticker on the side. So the boot, well, for its first trick, the door opens, well, like a door, not a normal boot. So don't park too close to a wall or you will get stuck. As you can see, there is feck all space back here, whatever that is, and a bit here. But you can fold these seats flat in a very simple way. Nearly there. Now, loads of space, just like a van, a really small van. Then back here we get modern stuff like a parking sensor. And if you want to change the lights, you just screw off from the outside, which is just so easy. And you get a little ecosystem, very nice. And a spare wheel on the back for handy access. And it looks really cool. Now, as you can see, luxury is the name of the game back here. You get a seatbelt, you get headroom, you get legroom, you get an ashtray, which is so very 2004, and you get 4 cup holders, despite this only being a 2-seater. 1, 2, 3, 4. Luxury. Now, as you can see, the theme of luxury that you saw in the back is definitely evident up front too. Keeping in mind that this car is 16 years old and it was released in 1998, so some of the technology here would be 22 years old, which is a scary thought, and I feel very old all of a sudden. In terms of entertainment, you get a CD player, and it has a radio as well, and a tiny little display screen here, so that's all your entertainment. In terms of info and car details, the only things you can get are the time or the temperature outside, and there's a little display here and you just push a button and you choose between either or. You can't have both. Surprisingly, this particular model had air conditioning. It doesn't work anymore and I haven't been arsed trying to fix it, but you know, I'm sure it was nice back in the day. Down on the center console bit you get some storage up front, a little window. You get a bit more here beside 2 cup holders, and you get a cigarette lighter, which is very cool. And kids probably won't recognize these, but they were great crack back in the day. You know, you could melt stuff in the car or scare your brother. Great fun. Really missing out on that nowadays. Further down the center, you get another cup holder. So this car has 7 cup holders and 4 seats. Make sense of that, because I really can't. The big strong point of this car is visibility. Tiny little pillars, so it's not very safe if you roll it, but you can see out and it's so maneuverable and so short, so easy to get around in. The only thing that takes getting used to in this car is the indicators. They're the opposite way around to what you expect. So every roundabout that you come up to, you turn on the wipers instead of the indicator. You get used to it, but like if someone else is driving the car, without fail, they will turn the wipers when they're going to go left. Right, so powering this absolute beast is a 1.6 naturally aspirated petrol engine with 92 brake horsepower and 138 Newton meters of torque. You get a 5-speed gearbox and you can choose between 2-wheel drive up front, 4-wheel drive with high gearing and 4-wheel drive with low gearing for that sexier off-road stuff. Now, we are going to deal with miles per hour today because 2004 is pre-kilometers in Ireland, and that's the good old days for some people. So 0 to 60 miles an hour is dealt with in 12.6 seconds, and the top speed is 93 miles an hour, and that's not something I've ever tested, nor do I plan on doing it. Once this car gets over 65 miles an hour, it rattles like nobody's business. It's, I won't say scary, but you're just very aware that you're doing that kind of speed, which is rare in cars nowadays. It feels like you're sort of wrestling with a cranky little cat or something, just to settle it back down every time. In terms of emissions and fuel economy, well, it is old school. You get 193 grams per kilometre of CO2, and the MPG is something like 30-35, which isn't too bad really. Now, something that may surprise you is this car is actually quite fun to drive. You can knock around at 10 tenths and you don't even come close to breaking the law. It's great fun in that sense of just going for it and not fearing for your license. The steering is incredibly light, and sure, the car is nearly as long as it is wide, so you can kind of throw it around corners and it'll dance on its toes and just be merry in its little ways. Something very impressive about it is actually the turning circle. It is 9 meters, so for kind of reference, a typical Fiesta from 2015-16 is a 10-meter radius. So you can just go in circles and circles and circles as a sort of metaphor for life. That's all we're ever doing, just going in circles. And this car is very good at that. Now, my car has only done 72,000 miles in 16 years, which is very little mileage, but it has developed a few little nuances that you get used to, like the alternator belt. It squeals when it's wet and cold. Now, to be very specific, it has to be wet and cold. If it's just cold, won't happen. If it's just wet, won't happen. I can feel it in my waters when it is, and it screeches like a banshee, and it's really embarrassing, but eventually it stops, and I haven't got around to fixing it because, well, I'm lazy. Well, that's our little detour for this week. Hopefully we're back to normal next week with a BMW X6, but obviously that depends on the old lockdown and all that jazz. Please do like and subscribe, and remain indoors and stay safe, everybody. Social distancing.